Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, August 28th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect mostly sunny skies and a high of 104 in San Antonio today. This weekend, the forecast calls for more triple-digit heat with practically no chance of rain. Our latest stop on the 52 Weeks of Pizza tour is Monte Vista's Barbaro. Find out which pizza made Mike Sutter think of Michael Jordan, earning an MV Pizza recognition. Check for a full review of that later this morning at expressnews.com. This weekend, former presidential contenders Bernie Sanders and Beto O'Rourke are joining forces to hold a virtual town hall meeting to discuss fighting for justice in Texas. And now let's move on to the top stories for the day. Two San Antonio police officers took a 33-year-old black jogger to jail earlier this week, even after the officers determined he wasn't the suspect they were searching for, video and police records show. The two officers, one of whom was black, said they stopped Matthias Ometu around 2 p.m. Tuesday because he matched description of a man suspected of choking and punching a woman at a Northwest Side apartment complex. Read more about the incident police say is under review and what Ometu's father said about his son, a UTSA graduate with no criminal history. Bexar County has suffered more deaths per capita from COVID-19 than any other large urban area in Texas, according to state and federal data. The reason for this grim distinction, experts say, is a majority Latino population that's older and more likely to suffer from underlying conditions that increase the risk of dying from COVID-19, including obesity, diabetes, and heart and chronic kidney disease. In our latest investigation, Brian Chasnoff dives deep into the numbers and the suggestions local leaders are considering to close the gap with Harris, Dallas, Tarrant, or Travis counties. In the Rio Grande Valley, where farmers and communities rely heavily on river water for irrigation and drinking, late summer has brought concern and uncertainty. Because of low water storage levels upstream at Falcon Lake and Amistad Reservoir, water allocations for some downstream users have been reduced. One water district manager said there's little mystery about the water shortage. He blames Mexico, which is running way behind making water deliveries to the U.S. as required in a binational water treaty. John McCormick takes a closer look at what's in the 1944 Water Treaty and what happens next if a large late summer hurricane doesn't dump vast amounts of rain in the right spots. Columnist Gilbert Garcia writes, "The semi-quarantine existence imposed on us by the COVID-19 pandemic for the past 6 months has offered plenty of time to evaluate what really matters. It has also stripped away most of the daily diversions that ordinarily allow us to evade unpleasant realities. I believe that's why we've recently seen an unprecedented level of sustained national intensity over the issue of police brutality and the way African Americans in this society are subjected to what Marvin Gaye described in his 1971 lament Inner City Blues as trigger-happy policing." Follow the link in the episode's description to read the rest of Garcia's column, which also touches on the role sports are playing in the national conversation and what it all means for policing in San Antonio. To keep our readers up to date on the path of COVID-19, the Express News has built a dashboard of interactive graphics showing the spread of the virus in the San Antonio area, in Texas as a whole, and across the United States. We've also created an interactive map of San Antonio for COVID-19 testing sites that don't require a doctor's referral. You can find a link to the dashboard and the interactive map in this episode's description. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside your Express News subscription. San Antonio officials reported 13 more coronavirus deaths on Thursday. However, the number of patients in San Antonio hospitals dropped for the 11th straight day, and those in intensive care dipped below 200 for the first time since June. The coronavirus pandemic forced an estimated 50% of the U.S. workforce to, at least partially, work remotely. Medical experts say finding an ergonomic workspace at home can prevent injury. A lot of people in Vinton, Louisiana, a small tight-knit community known as home to refinery and construction workers, awoke Thursday to take in scenes that locals say made Laura the worst of the storms they remembered. With thousands of hurricane evacuees from East Texas arriving, it was inevitable that many would find their way to the downtown plaza to enjoy the Alamo, the Riverwalk, and other attractions. San Antonio so far has provided hotel rooms to more than 4,300 evacuees. Some local workplaces may have fallen short of safety standards amid the coronavirus pandemic, according to complaints made to OSHA. We have a look at the COVID-19 complaints made to OSHA in the San Antonio area at the link in this episode's description. Since August 14th, HEB has reported 11 coronavirus cases in San Antonio employees, according to the grocery store chain's website. Stung by the slowdown in the hospitality industry, the JW Marriott San Antonio Hill Country Resort and Spa, one of the region's premier luxury hotels, is laying off 462 workers, half its staff, according to its affected employees. Greg Jefferson writes, quote, "In a fast-changing world, chambers of commerce don't wield the influence they once did. That's created some restlessness at the San Antonio Chamber." President Donald Trump has increasingly focused his re-election campaign on law and order in an effort aimed at shoring up support in the suburbs, where Democrats gained ground in 2018. You can find how Trump's law and order rhetoric applies to Texas and how it doesn't at the link in the episode's description. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar and his Republican challenger, former County Clerk Gerald C. Rickoff, exchanged harsh words during a testy hour-long virtual meeting on Thursday, airing their differences on approaches to law enforcement and a fatal officer-involved shooting earlier this week. On Thursday, family, friends, and the Corps paid a final salute to 20-year-old Lance Corporal Guillermo Perez, who was among 9 Marines killed July 30th in a training accident. Perez is the third San Antonio area serviceman to die in the line of duty this year. The San Antonio Appeals Court has issued a revision opinion in a case that produced a record $706 million jury verdict more than 2 years ago. County Manager David Smith wants to cut constable staffing by more than half, saving taxpayers $2.7 million a year in payroll costs alone. Do it, writes the Express News editorial board. Redevelopment in San Antonio's urban core started years ago in neighborhoods like King William and then spread to Dignity Hill, Tobin Hill, and other communities on the edge of San Antonio's downtown. City policies subsidizing the construction of thousands of apartments and condos lured the developers to the area, and they got busy building. The transformation of the Pearl Brewery and the adjacent section of the San Antonio River created pedestrian-friendly oases and sparked more interest in the urban core. And Steve Yndo is in his element. He spent more than 20 years developing high-end lofts and townhomes in the King Williams and Southtown neighborhoods and near the Pearl. You can read more about him and his work in Madison Eisler's latest Skyline story. Jourdanton coach Daryl Andrus and son Cole are entering their final season together. You can read more about the relationship between the coach and his quarterback before high school football season kicks off tonight at the link in the episode's description. Chicken and Pickle, Roti and Shifu Noodle are showcasing the spirit to survive the coronavirus economy. Ruby City's first director, Elyse A. Gonzales, talks about the coronavirus impact on the new San Antonio Art Museum. You can find the Q&A at the link in the episode's description. You have just a few days to apply granular pre-emergent herbicide to the lawn and garden, Calvin Finch warns. Meanwhile, Neil Sperry answers questions about Texas persimmon and more. One day after current and former Spurs players applauded the NBA playoff teams going on strike, the teams in the league's bubble decided during Thursday morning meeting to return to the court. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. See you Monday.